The twilight broke through hyperspace above Coruscant, but Anakin Skywalker barely noticed the familiar skyline. His hands gripped the controls too tightly. His jaw clenched. Behind his eyes played a vision he couldn't shake, a nightmare that felt more real than memory. On Mortis, the Father had shown him everything. His fall, his betrayal, the burning lava of Mustafar, the black mask sealing over his face, the name that echoed like a curse, Darth Vader. And then, the Father had let him remember. Anakin? Obi-Wan's voice cut through the silence. You've been quiet since we left Mortis. What happened in there? Anakin didn't answer right away. What could he say? That he'd seen himself murder younglings? That he'd choked Padme? That he'd helped destroy the Jedi Order? I saw something, he finally said. Something terrible. Obi-Wan frowned. The Force works in mysterious ways on Mortis. Visions, illusions, sometimes it's hard to know what's real. But Anakin knew. This wasn't illusion. It was prophecy, warning, truth. As the ship descended toward the Jedi Temple, Anakin felt the presence of the dark side like never before. It pulsed beneath Coruscant's surface, hidden, patient, waiting. And somewhere in the Senate, he felt him, Palpatine. The kindly Chancellor who had always been there for Anakin, always offering guidance, always whispering promises of power. In the vision, Palpatine had another name. Darth Sidious. Anakin's stomach twisted. Could it be true? Had the Sith Lord been beside him all along, grooming him, manipulating him toward darkness? The landing platform appeared below. Ahsoka was waiting, arms crossed, a grin on her face. Took you long enough, Sky Guy. Anakin forced a smile, but inside his mind raced. If the vision was real, if it was his future, then every choice he made from this moment mattered. One wrong step, and he'd become the monster he'd seen. He couldn't let that happen. He wouldn't. But as he stepped off the ship and felt the weight of destiny pressing down on him, Anakin Skywalker realized something terrifying. Knowing the future didn't mean he knew how to change it. Sleep became impossible. Every night, Anakin closed his eyes and saw the same thing. Yellow Sith eyes staring back at him from a black mask. He heard the mechanical breathing, felt the rage, the hatred, the emptiness. He'd wake drenched in sweat, Padme stirring beside him in their secret apartment. Another nightmare? She'd whisper. He'd nod, unable to tell her the truth. How could he explain that he'd seen himself become a Sith Lord? That he'd watched himself destroy everything he loved? During the days, Anakin threw himself into battle. He fought harder, won faster, pushed his troops further. Captain Rex noticed. General, you're taking risks. More than usual. I'm fine, Rex, Anakin snapped. But he wasn't. He was desperate to prove the vision wrong, to show that he was still good, still the hero of the Republic. But the doubt grew. Late one night in the Jedi archives, Anakin searched for answers. He pulled up records on Sith prophecy, visions of the future, the nature of destiny. The ancient texts offered little comfort. The future is always in motion, Master Yoda had once said. But the vision felt too specific, too real, too certain. What triggered it? What turned Anakin Skywalker into Darth Vader? The answer kept circling back to the same fears, losing Padme. The visions from his mother's death, the Council's distrust, and always, Palpatine's voice in his ear, encouraging him to embrace his power, to not be held back by the Jedi Code. Anakin stared at the hologram of a Sith Lord from centuries past. The dark side promised strength, certainty, control, everything the Jedi denied him. No, he slammed the console shut. He wouldn't fall. He'd break the cycle. But how? The answer came during a strategy meeting with Chancellor Palpatine. The older man smiled warmly, as he always did, offering wisdom about the war, about leadership, about doing what was necessary for peace. And Anakin felt it, just for a moment, a flicker in the Force. Something cold, something dark, something hidden. He looked at Palpatine with new eyes, and the Chancellor looked back, still smiling, as if he knew exactly what Anakin was thinking. Is something wrong, my boy? Anakin's heart pounded. No, Chancellor. Everything's fine. But nothing was fine, because Anakin Skywalker had just glimpsed the truth. I need to talk to you. Alone. Obi-Wan looked up from his datapad, surprised. Anakin stood in the doorway of his quarters, tension radiating from him like heat from a forge. Of course, Obi-Wan said carefully. Come in. Anakin paced. He couldn't sit, couldn't stay still. Finally, he stopped and turned to face his old master. On Mortis, I saw something. The Father showed me a vision. Visions can be. This wasn't just a vision, Obi-Wan. It was real. I saw my future. I saw. He swallowed hard. I saw myself fall to the dark side. I became a Sith Lord. Darth Vader. Silence filled the room like a physical weight. Obi-Wan stood slowly. Anakin, the Force can show us many possible futures. I killed Jedi Obi-Wan. Anakin's voice cracked. I killed younglings. I helped destroy the Order. I hurt Padme. I became everything we're fighting against. Obi-Wan's face went pale. For a long moment, he said nothing, processing the impossible confession. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Because I thought I could handle it. I thought if I just fought harder, stayed in control, I could stop it from happening. Anakin's hands trembled. But it's not working. The vision showed me why I fell. And Obi-Wan, it's because of Palpatine. The Chancellor? He's not who he pretends to be. In the vision, he had another name, Darth Sidious. He's the Sith Lord we've been hunting. He's been manipulating me, grooming me, using me since I was a child. Obi-Wan sank back into his chair, the weight of this revelation crushing. Everything suddenly made sense. The way Palpatine always kept Anakin close, the special attention, the emergency powers, the way the war seemed to benefit him at every turn. If this is true, if Palpatine is the Sith Lord, then the Republic is already lost. Not if we stop him first, Anakin said. Not if we change what I saw. Obi-Wan studied his former apprentice. The fear in Anakin's eyes was real. The desperation was real. And if even half of what he said was true, we need to tell the Council. No! Anakin grabbed his arm. They already don't trust me. If I accuse the Chancellor without proof, they'll think I've gone mad, or worse, that I've already turned. Then what do you propose? Anakin met his gaze. We find proof. Together. And we end this before it begins. Obi-Wan nodded slowly. The path ahead was dangerous, but they had no choice. The future was watching. In the shadows of his private office, Palpatine closed his eyes and reached out through the Force. Something had changed. Anakin Skywalker, his greatest weapon, his chosen apprentice, the key to everything, was slipping through his fingers. The boy had always been eager, hungry for approval, desperate for power, easy to manipulate, easy to guide toward the darkness. But ever since returning from that mysterious mission with Kenobi, Anakin had grown distant, cautious, watching. Palpatine's yellow eyes snapped open behind his mask of kindly concern. He knows. Not everything, perhaps, but enough to be dangerous. 1,000 plans shifted in Palpatine's mind like pieces on a hologous board. He'd spent decades positioning himself, orchestrating this war, corrupting the Jedi from within. He was so close to ultimate victory. The clone army stood ready, the inhibitor chips primed, the Republic teetering on the edge of transformation into his glorious empire. But all of it depended on Anakin Skywalker turning to the dark side. Without Vader, the plan was incomplete. The Jedi would be destroyed, yes, but the Emperor needed his enforcer, his symbol of terror, his apprentice who would hunt down the survivors and crush any resistance. Palpatine leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled. He'd waited long enough. Subtlety had served him well, but now speed was essential. He activated his holotransmitter. Execute the attack on Coruscant. Now. Within hours, General Grievous and his droid fleet tore through Coruscant's defenses. Chaos erupted. The Senate building shook with explosions. And in the carefully orchestrated confusion, Palpatine arranged his own kidnapping. When Anakin and Obi-Wan arrived to rescue him from the invisible hand, Palpatine watched his apprentice carefully. The boy fought brilliantly as always, savage, powerful, ruthless. But there was something different in his eyes. A hardness, a certainty. On the bridge, with Count Dooku kneeling defeated before them, Palpatine gave the command he'd given 1,000 times in simulations. Kill him, Anakin. Kill him now. This was the test. The first true step toward the dark side. The moment Anakin would cross the line and begin his transformation. Anakin looked at Dooku, at Palpatine, at his own ignited lightsaber. And for one terrible, perfect second, Palpatine saw the boy make his choice. But it wasn't the choice the Sith Lord expected. No, Anakin said quietly. He'll stand trial. It's not the Jedi way. Palpatine's smile never wavered, but inside, alarm screamed. The boy was resisting. The game had changed, and Darth Sidious would have to play his final cards sooner than planned. You should have killed him when you had the chance. Palpatine's voice was soft, almost disappointed, as he stood in his office overlooking the Coruscant skyline. The rescue had succeeded. Dooku was in custody. Grievous had escaped. Everything according to plan, except for one crucial detail. Anakin Skywalker stood across from him, arms crossed, no longer the eager student. The Jedi don't execute prisoners, Chancellor. The Jedi, Palpatine said slowly turning, have many rules. Many limitations. Rules that hold you back, Anakin. That prevent you from reaching your full potential. I've heard this before. Then why don't you listen? Palpatine's voice hardened, just slightly. You have power beyond any Jedi in history. You could save those you love from death itself, but only if you're willing to embrace what the Jedi fear. There it was. The bait. The same manipulation he'd seen in the vision. Anakin met his eyes. You're talking about Padme. Palpatine smiled. I'm talking about loss, my boy. The loss of your mother. The loss you fear is coming. I can sense it in you. The nightmares, the visions of Padme dying in childbirth. You're terrified. Every word was true. Anakin had been having those dreams, those fears. But hearing Palpatine say it aloud felt like a trap closing. How do you know about my nightmares? Because I know you, Anakin. I've always known you. Better than the Jedi Council, better than Obi-Wan, better than anyone. Palpatine stepped closer, and I know how to save her. The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. Anakin's hand drifted toward his lightsaber. Abilities like yours, Darth Sidious? The name hung in the air like a blade. Palpatine's expression didn't change, but something shifted behind his eyes. Calculation, surprise, recalibration. So, you know, I've known for weeks. I saw what you'd do, what you'd turn me into. Anakin's voice was steady, though his heart pounded. I'm not going to be your apprentice. I'm not going to be Darth Vader. Palpatine regarded him for a long, dangerous moment. Then slowly he smiled, a smile with no warmth, no humanity, only cold Sith power. Then you've chosen death, for yourself and for your wife. The lights flickered. Lightning crackled at Palpatine's fingertips, and Anakin Skywalker ignited his lightsaber, ready to face the devil he'd refused to become. Master Windu, he's the Sith Lord. Anakin burst into the council chamber, out of breath, lightsaber still ignited. The masters turned in shock, Yoda, Mace Windu, Ki-Adi-Mundi, and the few who remained on Coruscant. Skywalker, Mace said sharply. Explain yourself. Chancellor Palpatine is Darth Sidious. I confronted him. He admitted it. He tried to turn me. He knows about the dark side, about Sith powers, about everything. The room fell silent. Then Yoda spoke, his ancient voice heavy with sorrow. Long suspected this, we have. But proof difficult to find. I'm your proof, Anakin insisted. And if we don't act now, he'll disappear. He'll activate whatever plan he's been building. Mace's jaw tightened. Then we move. Now. Anakin, you'll stay here. No. Anakin stepped forward. I'm coming with you. I've seen what happens if we fail. I won't let it happen. Mace studied him, then nodded. Very well, but you follow my lead. Understood? Yes, Master. Minutes later, 4 Jedi Masters and 1 determined knight stormed into Palpatine's office. The Chancellor stood calmly, as if he'd been expecting them. Master Windu, he said warmly. What a surprise. Chancellor Palpatine, you are under arrest for treason against the Republic. Palpatine's smile widened. Are you threatening me, Master Jedi? The Senate will decide your fate. I am the Senate. And then the mask fell away. Palpatine's face twisted with rage and dark power. Crimson lightsaber igniting, he moved faster than thought. Aegon Kohler fell, then C.C. Tyen, then Kit Fisto, cut down in seconds by the Sith Lord's blinding speed. Only Mace remained, his purple blade clashing against red, driving Palpatine back step by step. The Sith Lord's power was immense, but Mace Windu was a master of Vapad, channeling the darkness back against itself. Anakin stood frozen at the doorway, watching the duel, every moment echoing the vision he'd seen on Mortis. This was the turning point. This was where he'd chosen before. Palpatine stumbled, disarmed, lightning arcing wildly as Mace's blade hovered at his throat. I'm going to end this, Mace said. Palpatine looked at Anakin, eyes pleading. Anakin, please, don't let him kill me. The vision showed what happened next. Anakin stopping Mace. Palpatine's lightning. Mace's death. The fall. Not this time. Do it, Anakin said quietly. End it. Mace Windu's blade fell, and Darth Sidious screamed his last. Palpatine's body lay on the floor of his office, smoke still rising from the fatal wound. The war was over in an instant. Without Sidious to give the command, Order 66 never activated. The droid armies shut down, and the Separatist leadership surrendered within days. The Republic had been saved, but Anakin Skywalker felt no triumph. In the days following Palpatine's death, the Jedi Council convened to discuss the future. And inevitably, the question turned to Anakin. Your visions on Mortis, Master Yoda said slowly. Share them fully, you must. So Anakin told them everything. The vision of his fall, the name Darth Vader, the murder of younglings, the betrayal of Obi-Wan, and the reason behind it all, his fear of losing Padme, his secret marriage, the pregnancy. The council chamber erupted in murmurs. Some masters looked at him with shock, others with disappointment, a few with outright anger. You violated the Jedi Code, Mace Windu said. Attachments lead to fear. Fear leads to... I know what it leads to, Anakin interrupted. I've seen it, but I also know that my attachment to Padme is what gave me the strength to resist Palpatine. Love didn't make me fall, it's what saved me. A Jedi's duty is to the Force, Ki-Adi-Mundi argued, not to personal relationships. And where did that duty get us? Anakin shot back, blind to the Sith Lord right in front of us for years, too rigid to see the truth. Maybe the code isn't as perfect as you think. Obi-Wan stepped forward. Anakin's right. He broke our rules, yes, but he also saved the Order. Without his warning, we'd all be dead. The debate raged for hours. Some masters wanted Anakin expelled. Others wanted leniency. Yoda remained silent, eyes closed, listening to the Force. Finally, the ancient Grandmaster spoke. A choice young Skywalker has. Remain a Jedi and leave his family, or leave the Order and embrace his love. Anakin looked around the chamber, at the Jedi who had raised him, trained him, fought beside him. Then he thought of Padme, of the children she carried, of the life they could have. I choose my family, he said quietly. I choose love. The prophecy said I'd bring balance to the Force. Maybe I already have. He turned and walked out of the council chamber, leaving his Jedi life behind. But as he left, the darkness whispered, "This isn't over. You'll always wonder what you could have been." 10 years later, on the shores of Naboo's lake country, Anakin Skywalker watched his children play. Luke chased his sister through the tall grass, both of them laughing, both of them strong in the Force. They didn't know the weight their father carried. They didn't know how close the galaxy had come to eternal darkness. Padme stepped beside him, her hand finding his. Thinking about it again? Anakin nodded. He'd never told her the full details of the Mortis vision, the specifics of what Darth Vader had done, but she knew enough. She knew the darkness had almost claimed him. Do you ever regret it? She asked softly. Leaving the Jedi? No, he said immediately. Then more honestly sometimes. I miss the battles, the purpose, but I wouldn't trade this. He gestured to their children. They're my purpose now. The Republic had rebuilt without him. The Jedi Order reformed, smaller, more cautious, more aware of the hubris that had nearly destroyed them. Obi-Wan visited sometimes, updating Anakin on the state of the galaxy, always bringing gifts for the twins. The Clone Wars were history now. Palpatine's manipulations exposed. The Sith seemingly extinct. Balance had been restored, but Anakin knew the truth. The dark side never truly died. It waited patient in the shadows of every choice, every fear, every moment of anger. He felt it sometimes, late at night, when the nightmares returned. The vision of Vader, the mechanical breathing, the yellow eyes staring back at him from a life unlived. Papa! Leia ran up, holding a flower. Look what I found. Anakin knelt, taking the flower gently. It's beautiful, sweetheart. Luke appeared beside her. Can you teach us more lightsaber forms today? Anakin smiled. After lunch, and only if you promise to meditate first. Both children groaned, but agreed. They had the Force, both of them, powerful and bright. Anakin trained them carefully, teaching them balance, not the strict dogma of the Jedi, nor nor the selfish hunger of the Sith. He taught them that emotions weren't the enemy. Fear could be acknowledged and overcome. Love could be a strength. Anger could be understood and released. They would be better than he was. Better than the Jedi who had raised him. Better than the Sith who had tried to claim him. As the sun set over Naboo, Anakin Skywalker, no longer a Jedi, no longer a general, but still the chosen one, held his family close and let go of the darkness. The future was not fixed, and for the first time in years, he believed it.